Alright guys, that's the intro for our Saga edition game, our Fantasy Flight game, Saga, through Tides of Change Role-Playing Club. This is session 1. For those who are viewing, we've got 2 people who are brand new to Fantasy Flight games, RPG, and 1 person who's only played an Edge of the Empire character before, and this will be a Force and Destiny game. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with that, it is Fantasy Flight's game system meant to play Jedi, or at least Force-trained individuals. The premise of our game is that the 3 individuals in question have grown up, crash-landed on a forest moon somewhere in the galaxy, unknown to the greater events of the galaxy. They crashed on the same day as the Battle of Geonosis and have grown up. They are now in their 20s. And have no idea of what terrible events have occurred throughout the galaxy. Our story will pick up with the 3 of them. We actually have a 4th player who is having Google Hangouts hate on him at the moment, so we're not sure if he'll be joining us or not, either this session or the next. So first up, if we could, each of you introduce the basics of your character, like what you're playing, and that way people will have an idea of what's going on. If you would, Corey, go ahead first, and then Tommy, and then Cronus.
I'll start. My name is Corey. I play a fair amount of RPG games. I am one of the guys that have never played this before. I play 5e, Stars Without Numbers, some Shadow the Demon Lord, some stuff. Today, I am playing Star Crux. She is a human, but she's Taltarian. She doesn't know that. She just knows she's a human. She looks kind of like maybe the. Yeah, I don't know. We know that, but she doesn't know that. So I'm playing the healer class under the consular. I don't know much about this game, so I'm hoping to learn a lot today, and I'm really excited.
Okay.
I love Star Wars.
All right, Tommy, if you'd give a brief rundown.
Today I'll be playing Musto Joleb, a Natulan Atari striker. He's very well versed in the martial arts. He's a very proud man about his family and serving them with honor.
Okay. And Cronus, or Callie.
Okay, my name is Kali, also known as Cronus sometimes, and today I'm playing Kyle Oden, the Atari Strike. He was in the Jedi Order, but he was not thinking about becoming a Jedi. He was very curious, so he playing enjoying the exploration corps. But then the accident happened, and he thought his better chance of surviving and helping his friends to survive was becoming a Jedi. So I hope someday I'm gonna just, but not today.
Awesome. All right, so for those who are new to Fantasy Flight's games in general, some of the things that matter are the morality of the characters, as well as the force die that's rolled at the beginning to set the destiny pool. So if each of you would open up the dice roller, and I see looks like Tommy already rolled 1, so we've got Tommy rolled 1 black force pip, Cronus rolled 1 black, and then Corey, if you would roll a force die, which is the for those using the real dice, it's a 12-sided white dice, but on this little dice roller, it looks like a 6-sided white dice.
That's on the yellow one, right?
No, not the yellow, the white one. The bottom left one. Oh.
Okay, so then do that.
You just need to select one on the white die and then roll.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So you got us a light side point. So with the 3-person group, this particular session, we have 3 destiny points in the dice pool, or in the pool for the players and GM to use. One of them is starting off light side, and 2 of them dark side. We'll get into a little bit more of the uses of those as we go through the session. The next thing to kind of cover, as far as the basic mechanics that are covered at the beginning of any session, is the morality point system. Now, as starting characters, all 3 of you have 50 morality. There are options if you're playing a dark side campaign or a light side Paragon campaign to start off at 29 or 71, but I believe all 3 of you are at 50. Mm-hmm. So what you then do is you roll a 10-sided dice, and on this dice roller, it default sets it as 100, but you can punch in 10, and then you click 1 and then roll. So any of you who roll, if the ones digit of the 10-sided dice matches the ones digit of your current morality, so in this case, if you rolled a 10 with the roll, which none of you did, you rolled an 8, a 5, and a 7. If you rolled a 10, that means your morality's virtue or vice should be a focus of the session in some way. And you're basically playing double or nothing, or playing for double the morality points at the end of the session. But none of you are this particular session, so there's nothing that's necessarily going to trigger off of each of your characters this session with that. For those who are watching and have not seen the Facebook page that gives a synopsis of what we're going for in this campaign, the premise of the game, again, is that at the Battle of Geonosis, whenever the Jedi launched the full-on assault against the Separatists and the Separatist movement occurred, the Jedi ordered the evacuation of Jedi temples in Separatist-held lands. One of those temples is home to 8 younglings, a Jedi Knight by the name of... where'd it go? It's always nice when you create yourself cheat sheets and then hide them from yourself. Jedi Knight by the name of Swan T, a near-human of some variety. He was assigned, along with a Republic trooper, to escort a group of 6 younglings and their nanny droid back to Coruscant at best top speed. So there was a pilot and a doctor that went with them. Keep in mind the player characters, as well as 4 other younglings, were between the ages of 1 and 7, or 1 and 6, basically, because the Jedi Order starts their training so young, and they would have been taken from their parents, and they were still too young. So they were on a ship that some sort of malfunction occurred, and they crashed on this moon. And in the chaos of the Clone Wars that followed, they were just assumed dead. So they don't know the events of the galaxy, and there's no one in the galaxy that has any reason to believe they're alive. So it creates a sort of an isolated location for the beginning of our game. Because of that, starting equipment is going to be a little bit different than it normally would be. Normally you'd have 500 credits to spend on starting equipment. The group is going to have basic supplies. Basically all of you are going to have the equivalent in armor to the heavy clothing. So you all have the 1 soak from your clothing whenever you're out and about. The forested moon is relatively mild climate. Corey, if you could mute your mic, I think there's a lot of background noise there. So it's a relatively mild climate. I mean, it's got winter, it's got summer, but for the most part, most of the year, food's not too hard to find. You found a nice location near a lake, since you got a Nautilin who likes to go for a swim on a daily basis, probably being an amphibious race. So, I mean, basically the group has created a home here. Of the, let's see, 4 adults, 8 children, and 2 droids that crash landed on the planet, 4 of the other 4 younglings all passed away in the months after the initial crash due to either injuries from the crash or just difficulty finding the supplies to feed that many mouths and keep track of them. The Jedi Knight and the Republic Trooper lived for many years. The pilot and the doctor passed away within the year of the crash as well. So the Trooper and the Jedi Knight were basically the parents to the 4 player characters, which kind of explains why 2 of the 3 are Aturo strikers and relatively militant. Swan T also practiced Aturo striker style of Jedi lightsaber duels, so he's the one who trained you guys in that lightsaber form. Makes sense that, and that was one of those things I had not decided what forms he was going to have learned, but since both of you chose Aturo striker, that makes sense. The Republic Trooper was actually a medic officer, so that helps explain the healer aspect of our consular, as well as the Force user and talents. The Jedi Knight in question, though, was relatively young. He was by no means a master, nor near the level to be a full-on master. So the training of our characters is relatively incomplete to start off things. They are all, in the old system, they would be Padawans, considerably less trained than Obi-Wan was in The Phantom Menace, probably more akin in relative power to where Luke is at the start of Empire Strikes Back whenever he seeks out Yoda, because that's kind of about the power level, even though if they've got a better understanding of the Force, probably they're just so isolated. So that kind of gives us a synopsis of where we're going to be starting the campaign. This session is kind of a session 0 as well, where we're going to be working out some of the backstory of how these characters have gotten along, answering questions, since we've got so many new, 2 people who are new to Fantasy Flight in general, as well as 1 person who's new to Force of Destiny. So before we go any further, do any of the 3 of you have any questions that haven't been answered already about your characters or about the group or that kind of thing?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Since we don't have any questions that have come up, the first thing that we're going to have you guys kind of decide, and it's going to create a little bit of conversation between you as to how your characters have developed. Since we have 2 Aturo strikers, Jedi Master Swan T passed away about 2 years ago, so you guys would have all been probably still in your 20s at that age, or at least upper teens. And since we have 2 people who are lightsaber trained significantly here, who has his lightsaber and why? How did that come to? I mean, is it something y'all keep in camp and whoever's going out for the day takes it? Do y'all keep it in camp and keep it protected? I mean, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I think it'd be more of a use as needed thing, since we only have the 1.
Corey, you got any ideas, or Callie?
Oh, I would love to use it, but no, I'm not very good with it right now. I needed a lot more training. So we'll leave the boys to play with their lightsabers.
I have this sword. I'm gonna say Kyle just found this ancient sword, so he keeps in the.
There's no ruins for you to have a sword. I mean, you guys may have made. I mean, I guess you could have made a sword-like implement from wreckage from the ship.
Oh yeah, sounds better. More
but there's no
survivable.
ruins for you to have raided to find an ancient sword or anything like that. So I mean, as far as basic like primitive weapons, I mean, y'all probably got a couple of spears, probably a bow and arrow in the group for going hunting and that kind of thing. Clubs and staves are relatively easy to find, that kind of sort of thing. But the lightsaber is the signature weapon of the Jedi, and would have sentimental value of some level to all three of you, since it was basically your master's blade. So, as Tommy kind of said, it probably makes sense for right now, at least, for you guys to keep it safe, and whenever one of you is going out to do something that y'all think may be dangerous, then you take it with you, and that kind of thing. So at this time, the 4 player characters, which I'm going to say there's 4 until we know for sure whether or not Josh was able to get his connection figured out. If not, he may meet a tragic. The 4th may meet a tragic end next week or something. But you guys and the nanny droid, which is in very bad disrepair at this stage because it's been 20 years without maintenance, basically, of significant level. The nanny droid is, for those who have watched Clone Wars, is very similar to the ones that are carrying around the Jedi younglings in the cartoon series, although this one has scratches and dents and probably been painted a couple of times because there was a bunch of toddlers running around with just one Jedi Knight who that wasn't his biggest priority, to keep making sure they didn't change the paint job through scratches and stuff. So the nanny droid is in very bad disrepair and barely functional. Between the nanny droid, the medic, and the Jedi Knight is where you guys got a lot of your book learning, as well as, even though the engines of the ship failed, some of the computer cores and data pads have been maintained, even to some extent, even to today. Not by and large, but y'all have data pads that, if y'all want to look something up or whatever, you're able to do so. It's just there's not been any way to get off the planet. I guess, unless anyone has something specific as far as either mechanics or character information that y'all want to discuss, we'll kick off into what I have planned for tonight's adventure. So, does anyone have anything like that they?
Well, do we have force powers yet or no?
Yes, you guys have whatever force powers you've bought. I don't remember. I know I talked with some of you about it. Because you did have a mentor, the system has the force powers, and there's like 6 or so that are available with force rating 1, which all of you have, just because you're a Force and Destiny character. So the first 2 basic force powers that you buy, you'll get the mentor discount on, because you were trained either in, let's see, there's Enhance, Move, Seek, Sense, Misdirection, Harm and Heal, I believe, are most of the level 1, force rating 1 powers. I know several of you have bought at least some of those. So you'll get the mentor discount, which for those who are using Ogdudes or have the book, basically discounts you 5 XP in the purchase of your first 2 powers there. Yeah, so any other questions about the mechanics side of things or anything along those lines?
Just about the blaster weapons.
Y'all have some, but the energy cells are basically out. I would say that you guys have a holdout blaster and a regular blaster, a holdout blaster pistol and a regular blaster carbine that have 2 energy cells each left amongst the group. That y'all probably don't use those for hunting. You actually use it whenever a predator comes around, which isn't a very common threat, but it happens frequently enough that you want to have the bigger weapon to help deal with it. The biggest predators that you guys have had to deal with growing up around here are, because it's a forested area, are primarily panther, big saber cat type builds, that kind of thing. The more common danger that you have to deal with would be serpents of some variety. But I mean, still, it's not something y'all are dealing with daily. It's not a super dangerous you're not like constantly fearing for your lives in this world or anything like that. It's not. You didn't land on the underside of Shriwook. For those who are familiar with the Wookiee homeworld, where there are things where the Wookiees are actually the squirrels of their world, apparently. But yeah, so. But this world does have occasional dangers, but because of the inability to recharge the power cells, and some of them have gone bad over the years, I would imagine that that particular resource is something that the group protects pretty carefully. As far as you guys have discovered over the years, which granted as you guys have grown up, y'all have done a little bit of exploring, but realistically, home is here and the forest is just the forest. So once you go out a day or so and maybe go camping for the night or whatever, it's usually coming back after you find whatever resource you were after, that kind of thing. So the moon itself overall is relatively unexplored still, just because of the size of it and the difficulty. I mean, initially it was, for the Jedi Knight and the medic, it was find somewhere safe and secure relatively near the crash site in case someone comes looking, and then that became home. So there's still plenty of exploring that can occur throughout the moon itself. I'm pretty sure that to some extent you guys have done that since the Jedi Knight passed away. You'll probably explored more and more. As far as you can tell, there's no civilization on the moon. Doesn't seem to be intelligent life that you've run into yet, at least. So, yeah. Any other questions regarding that, or are y'all ready to get going?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Alrighty, so the okay, so you guys have obviously y'all basically got a routine down by now at this point. So things have been going along, and let's see here. On this particular day, Musto Joleb has been out and about hunting for some food, got a couple of spears that the group has and that kind of thing. Give me a vigilance test. So for those who are new, the way you build your dice pool is you look at the skill that the GM calls for and the associated characteristic that goes with that skill. So in the case of vigilance, that would be cunning, if I'm remembering right. Got to get my book out as well. Yeah, willpower. So you look at those two things. The higher number tells you the total number of dice you're going to roll as far as the player RP dice, which are indicated here, the green and yellow dice. The higher number tells you the total number. The lower number tells you how many of those are the proficiency dice, the difference being the ability dice. So Tommy, what is your vigilance?
I have 1 rank in vigilance.
Okay. And what's your willpower?
2.
Okay, so
the
that would be
yellow.
No, that would be 1 yellow, 1 green. So the 2 tells you how many dice you're rolling. The 1 tells you how many of those are proficiency dice. Now you have your base dice pool. The difficulty of this check is going to be difficulty 2, which would mean 2 purple dice. And there's a lot of ways of describing it, but I will usually say challenge 1, difficulty 2, that kind of thing, to where you know how many of the Game Master RP dice, which are right over here, the purple and the red. All right, so you rolled the 1 green, 1 yellow, and 2 purple.
Advantage.
And you got 1 advantage, but no successes. So that means whatever it was you were setting out to do, which in this case was noticing something passively that I had in mind. You did not succeed at that particularly, but you did get an advantage. So that means something beneficial occurs, There are charts when we get to combat that tell you like what you can spend those on. But in this case, basically what that advantage is going to be is that you you're walking along, you come over a hill, and kind of lost in your thoughts. You got like the rope, like equivalent of rabbits, a couple of those over your shoulder from your hunting trip, and you suddenly realize that you've crested a hill and you're not sure where you're at. You got turned around somewhere. You don't recognize where exactly you are standing at. So, what do you want to do when you come to this realization?
Musto's a strong-willed person. He probably thinks he knows the right way, even if he doesn't. So he takes his best guess and proceeds down the hill.
Okay. So you turn a corner, and you have the sinking suspicion that something is watching you. And whenever you get that feeling, you find yourself ready to, or you get the feeling that something's watching you, and it does not seem like it's not something you commonly run into while you're out and about like this, because other than the occasional prey or predator, there's not much else out here. Unless one of your group came and sought you out. So you proceed along, heading back in the general direction of what you believe to be camp. When you spring a trap, and that's where I'm going to kick the advantage in, some sort of net type trap, like the classic net on the ground that would have lassoed you up into the air. You spring it and you manage not to get caught by it. So you are... this is the first time you've ever seen anything like this, as far as, you know they exist, but you've not encountered them while you've been out and about. So what do you want to do about that now?
I'm startled by the sophistication, per se, of the trap. I know there's no intelligent life forms, so I definitely want to look at my surroundings and see what any telltale signs of where this came from.
Okay. Give me a... Do you have survival or perception?
My survival is the best. I have one rank in survival.
Okay, give me a survival test. You'll get... It's going to be difficulty 2, and you're going to have 1 setback dice due to the nature of the camouflage that the trap was under and that kind of thing, trying to find anything significant in the area. So 2 successes and 3 threats. All right, so the threats... Oh, let's see here. Okay, so the threat will be... Okay, so for the 2 successes, you're able to find the sophistication of the trap. You find that there's a noticeable lack of tracks on the ground in the area, which gets you looking up at where it's anchored in the tree. And it's about this time that you notice what the trap may have been intended to catch, because you see one of the a smaller, not a full-size one, but a adolescent of the panther-like creatures, the saber cats that you guys have dealt with periodically. And it is apparently prowling in the trees. It does not yet seem to have noticed you.
I'll run across the little trail I guess I'm on and try to hide behind a tree so that he doesn't notice me.
Okay, so you're going to abandon the search at the moment and try to evade the creature. Are you just trying to evade, or are you trying to make your way back towards your all's camp?
Just to evade for the moment to see what the panther thing does.
Okay.
Is he alone?
Yeah, he went out hunting for the day.
Okay.
Callie, or actually Callie and Corey, do either of you have the sense power?
No.
What about Foresee? Did either of you go with that one?
I don't have.
I have neither of those. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, so y'all aren't going to get anything from that particular mode of information. All right. So, Tommy, you're on the run, heading just away from this creature. You're pretty sure that it is following you at this point because you stepped on a twig type thing, the classic. You think you hid and then you stepped on something and made a loud noise. So now you're pretty certain it heard you, and so you're kind of doing the scrambling, getting away, trying to find a good spot to either defend yourself or just get away. Either one. And you it gives chase for a little bit, or at least you're pretty sure it has. In the running around, Corey and Callie, go ahead and give me a perception test. Difficulty 2. With 1 setback dice. So that would be 2 purple, 1 black, with whatever your perception pool is.
Okay, so I have just the 2 green ones then, right? Because I don't have anything.
Okay, yeah, if you don't have any in the skill, then it just tells you how many green dice.
Right. The 2 green ones, and then a black one and a purple one, is that what you said?
2 purple and 1 black.
2 purple and 1 black. And then roll. Oops, I got that D10 in there. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine. That's one reason I like this dice roller more than the others. It shows us that, and it's like, oh, well, we just leave that off.
Yeah.
All right, so you got 1 threat. So you're apparently busy working on something around the camp. When Callie, you got 2 successes. So you hear off in the distance Musto making his way back in the general direction of camp at a very high rate of speed. And you've got a triumph. So for those who... actually, Callie, you are... Oh, who just did that? Don't do that. Callie, you've actually played an Edge of the Empire game before, so what do you want to do with your triumph in this particular case? Do you have anything in mind?
I remember that triumphs may also give some kind of advantage. Really?
Yeah, it's usually
Can I
either
use
some tactical advantage or introduce a new plot point that is in some way related to what the role was about. So, I mean, you can do a lot of different things with it. I just wanted to see if you had any idea. If not, for these first couple of sessions, I will propose ideas if you don't have them. I have one, so.
I have a little, I don't know if it fits, but I perceive him, and if the triumph can I use to move to get an advantage position to help him with the beast?
Well, you can't use the triumph to actually move, but what you could do is, based on what you heard of his movements, and I'll say you can use the triumph, 1, to realize that he is running from something, and that in the general direction he is running, he's not running straight back to camp. He's running along like around a hill type thing, and so you're able to predict where he's going, to where you can know of a advantageous spot to set up to meet up with him basically and stop whatever's chasing him. So like you know of a spot basically that he's running in the direction of. So
Yeah, that's right. That's
So-
exactly what I would like to do.
Okay. So you got that. You got some threats. So as you start in that general direction, we'll say you stub your toe and tweak your leg a little bit, so you're going to take some strain damage. I'm going to give you 3 strain damage from those threats as you hurry to help your friend. And Corey, I don't know if you can still hear me or not. You got up. If so, I was going to say, Corey, you see...
I absolutely can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so Star was busy working on something and all of a sudden notices Kale get up, stub his toe, and hurry away from home in a bit of a rush without explanation.
I, give chase a little bit. I giggle at him because he stubbed his toe. I'm kind of, I think everything's funny. And then, I just kind of follow what's going on. I may not keep up, but I'm just maybe looking at things as I'm going along. But yeah, I just kind of follow along as they're going to wherever they're going.
All right. So back to actually, since all 3 of you are involved in the chase in some level of understanding or another, let's go ahead and have an initiative roll. Initiative in this game is always either a vigilance or a cool check. Cool is you're being ambushed usually, or reacting to an ambush, whereas vigilance is most of the time. So in this case, everyone makes a vigilance test, and there's no difficulty involved in a initiative test. So we got Tommy with 2 advantages, Corey with 1 advantage, and Cronus with 1 success and 1 advantage. The creature has 3 advantage, and I did not mean to roll a force die there. Okay, so he got 3 advantage. So that means basically what it is, we create the chart just like you would in Initiative and many other games out there, starting with triumphs first. So if anyone had rolled a triumph, which in this particular roll only the creature and Tommy could have, because the triumphs come from the proficiency dice. But no one rolled a triumph, so there's none of those. Then we have successes second, which Callie was the only person to roll a success, and then we count the advantages. So Callie, or 1 player characters first, and then the creature, and then 2 player characters. One thing that's kind of unique, as far as I'm aware, of the initiative in this system, rather than having to deal with holding actions to where this player or that player goes, the players get to choose what order you all go each round. So, like, you guys got 1 initiative slot that beat the creature you're dealing with, and 2 that lost to it. So one of you gets to go first every round, and you all can change that from one round to the next depending on where it's advantageous for you guys. And like maybe one of these times, Callie will be injured, and you need to get a heal off on him first. So then you may have the healer go first in a round or something along those lines. So different strategies may come up and that kind of thing. But in this case, one of you gets to go first. Basically, the two that are coming from camp are running along a ridge, and down below the ridge, like you're a story up, basically. Along the ridge, you can see the Nautilin running along, and something is chasing it. You can see the branches and stuff moving behind him, 20 or 30 yards, basically, as he's moving along in a rather haphazard and rushed manner. So who wants to go first?
I don't know, since the one closest to the creature would be
Could be. I mean,
well, so that probably makes sense for Tommy to go first because he's the only one that actually saw the creature.
Yeah, he can go first if y'all want. Or, I mean, Callie was trying to get in position to get a surprise on the creature, so both of those would make a lot of sense. I mean, in this particular case, Corey's probably the least likely, just because
I'm not even really interested.
You're just interested. You don't know what's going on yet. So.
Yeah.
So, whichever of you wants to go first, go ahead and decide. You get a maneuver and an action. The action is anything that uses a dice pool, like an attack or a skill check of some kind. A maneuver can either allow you to move or aim or guarded stance. You can also sacrifice your action for an extra maneuver, so if you want to move twice, you can do that. You can also at any time suffer 2 strain to get a second maneuver. So you can't get more than 2 maneuvers in a turn, but you can suffer 2 strain to get a second maneuver, so you could wind up with an action and 2 maneuvers if you want. And different times that will be useful or not. So.
Just one question.
Go ahead.
Do I got my junkie sword or
Sure.
someone
Yeah.
got the lightsaber? My character would take the junk sword for himself and let others
I'd say since
beneficiate.
it's such a hurried situation, you grab your handy sword and the lightsaber is in y'all's safe, secure location at camp. So you've got your sword. Our Nautilin friend has a couple of spears and a club, probably. So I mean, y'all got options as far as that goes. But
I want to keep running away from the creature and try to hit something to try and slow it down. Like a branch or rock or something.
Okay, so you want to try to find something to like knock over in its path or cause it trouble.
Random trash can.
Okay, so maneuver away. Basically, what we'll say is that is actually going to be, since you're not actually attacking it, your action will be sacrificed for a move, and then your maneuver will give as the guarded stance, where basically you're trying to help yourself get away, and the guarded stance kind of can do the same thing from a mechanics side of things. So that's how we'll treat that. Guarded stance makes it where anyone that attacks you before the end of your next turn adds 1 setback die to their attack roll. So, which is the same thing that defense rating does, and that kind of thing.
That works.
And also, just guarded stance would also, it's kind of like defensive stance in some games where you take a penalty on your attack roll in order to get a bonus to your defense. So you take a setback dice on your attack roll in order to give +1 melee defense. So it only helps you against melee, not ranged, but I don't think you're really worried about the saber-toothed cat shooting you with a blaster or something. So, and if that happens, then you got bigger problems anyway. All right, so you're defending and moving away. It's going to maneuver to keep pace, and then its action is going to be sacrificed for maneuver, so it will actually close the distance some on you, but which means it moves from medium range to short range with the range band system. So next would be another player character that hasn't gone yet, probably Callie in this case.
How far is the 2 of them?
From where you guys are, we'll call it medium range at the moment. To where, well, it's going to be medium range to where Musto is, and the creature is going to be long range because it's a range band behind him, coming in y'all's general direction.
So I'm gonna do like the creature and sacrifice my action to move.
Move twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
get close to Musto.
Okay, so that means you are now engaged with Musto as far as range. I mean, you're like within a couple of feet of him, basically. Y'all are right there together. All right.
Yeah. And I grabbed the junkie sword.
Okay, draw your weapon. Okay.
Yeah, it's a quick draw. I don't know if needs it, but it's the talent I have.
Okay. Awesome. That works perfectly. All right, so then we've got our consular.
That's correct. And I'm still just kind of trudging along, and I noticed that Cal just disappeared, and So I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to be, a bit behind them. Maybe I can see them from where I am, but I'm going to sacrifice I'm going to do the double movement thing as well. But I'm not, quite as far as they are. So I can kind of see what's happening from,
Okay.
from where they are, but probably, I don't know what, maybe 40, 50 feet away. So I can
Okay.
kind of see, I can see where they are, but I'm not right there where they are.
Okay, so you're going to be medium from them then.
Okay.
So, and
Works.
you're going to be long from the creature because it's basically on the other side of them. Not exactly opposite of them, but basically on the other side of them.
Right.
All right,
Makes
so that takes us through the round. So now we're to the top of the round again, which is whichever of you wants to go first.
I noticed Kale coming to join me, so I stop and grab my spear really quick and brace for impact.
Okay. So you're stopping. Do you have quick draw?
I do.
You do? Okay, so you draw your weapon,
Yes.
you've got your maneuver and attack. Do you actually want to close on the creature, or you just want to wait here for it?
Is there something I can do to create an advantage for when it gets there?
Let's see here.
Or help Cal out on his attack? Or
Well, you could either. Trying to think. There's no action that you could take, but you could take guarded stance again if you wanted to make sure it doesn't attack you. And then you could basically say that you're going to assist Kale, which means if Kale stays here and the creature comes to you guys, then you would give him a boost die on his attack as you try to set up a flanking opportunity or distract it so that he gets a better shot type thing. If you want to do that. It's also close enough that if you want, you can move to it and then attack this round if you want to be there by yourself.
I'll just set him up for advantage.
Okay, so guarded stance and assist. There we go. All right, so next would be its turn. It doesn't realize how over its head it is yet, so it's going to move and then it's going to attack. And it's going to be attacking the amphibious-looking fellow who looks tasty to it for some reason. Melee attacks are almost always difficulty 2, unless there's adversary or weird factors involved. So that means it's going to be attacking with 2 purple. You've got guarded stance going, so that's 1 black. Its attack roll. Let's see here. What else will it do? I think that's it. Alright, so then it goes to attack. And it got a success with no threats or advantages, so that means it hit you. Do you know what your soak is?
4.
4. I think that should be 5 with the heavy clothing. Alright, so you got 5. So we got the 1 success, and so I think that means that it's going to do 1 damage to you. 1 wound, to be more specific. Alright, and then it's one of y'all's turn. And keep him, and just think a saber-toothed tiger with panther coloration is basically what y'all are fighting.
So Kyle, seeing that his friends getting beat up by this panther-like creature, he would attack with the sword.
Okay. So you'll have your melee skill is what you'd be using for a sword.
Melee?
Yeah, the melee skill.
Okay.
And it's difficulty 2. And Tommy gave you a boost die.
Oh, God.
So you failed, but you got 3 advantages. So you missed the creature, but you created advantages for you or the group in some way. So spending advantages. Do you have your Force and Destiny book handy? Or do you have that chart already?
Oh, no, I don't have the chart.
Okay. It's page 212 of Force and Destiny if you're interested in looking at it. But for 3 advantages, you can negate a target's...
What is that noise?
I don't know. Okay. Well, it stopped. You can negate a target's defensive bonuses, such as defense gained from cover, equipment, performing a guard stance maneuver until the end of the current round, which it doesn't have any of those, so there's no point in using it for that.
There is this one gain 1 melee range defense.
Yeah, you can gain +1 melee or range defense until the end of the until the end of your next turn if you wanted. You can also split it up. You could like spend 2 to add a boost die to an allied character's next check, including yourself if you wanted to. You could spend 1 to give the next allied character's check a boost die. And those
Can I recover one string and add 1 boost die to the ally?
Okay. Do you want to give it to a specific ally or the next ally?
For instance, I give to Musto because I run away so fast I don't really see Starcross close to me, so
Okay.
I think I would
Alright,
give
so
the
you're going to give
advantage
Musto
to
a
him.
boost dice on his next attack and recover 1 strain. Okay. Makes sense. I mean, y'all are moving into some fighting patterns that you guys have practiced over the years and whatnot, so you're slipping into the more comfortable stance and your tweaked ankle or your stubbed toe is not bothering you at the moment. So, and he helped set up you for an attack, and now you're helping him set up for an attack. So now it's on to our consular's turn.
Okay. Seeing this happen, Star looks and goes, thinks that, she can see that, what's his name? Musto, got hit, but, he obviously wasn't hurt really badly. So she has a spear as well that she grabbed, in the way, just kind of used as a walking stick and so on and so forth, if she had to defend herself with it. How far away is that thing from me now? Is it still long distance, or is it?
It's medium because it closed on them, so it would take you
a whole movement to get there.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, if you want to attack it, then you could maneuver, suffer 2 strain to maneuver again or move again, and then still have your action. Because you can suffer 2 strain to get a second maneuver, and use both maneuvers to move if you want.
How about I just move to where they are, and that's fine. I'll just catch up to the guys and.
Okay. And now we're to the start of a round. So we're start of round 3. One of you guys gets to pick. Gets to go first.
I'll go first again. Being angered that the panther made me bleed, I will vigorously attack the panther.
Okay.
Saber 2.
So it's difficulty 2. And you've got a boost die from your combat partner there. And it's a melee check. Alright, so you got a success and 3 advantages. You're using one of those spheres, right?
Yes.
Okay. As far as the mechanic side of things, because I don't know that the spears have been printed anywhere, I'm going to use the ancient sword stats for the spear, except for it's going to be a melee weapon. So, okay, with 3 advantages, you can give a boost die to someone, the next guy that goes. You can give a specific person a boost die. You can recover strain if you want. And in this case, you can actually crit, because the crit rating of the spear is 3. So you can do that as well if you would like.
Yeah, I'll crit once.
Okay. All right, so you got 1 crit, and then your brawn is 4, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the spear does +2 damage, so you do 6 with that success. So it takes some wounds, and you got a crit. So I need to find the crit chart. So then I need you to roll percentile.
100.
Yeah. So 42. So a 42 means that the target is bowled over. The target is knocked prone and suffers 1 strain. So you did some wounds, a strain, and you knocked it on its side. Just completely knocked it off its feet. And it has a crit on it now. So then it's its turn. It's going to get up as its maneuver, and then realizing that it's probably in trouble, it's going to use a maneuver to move away. So it's now at short range. So next up is one of the other 2.
Kyle wouldn't try to hurt the animal anymore. He still thinks us an Jedi way and let him live. So
Okay.
he gonna approach Musto to see if he's okay, he's hurt or anything else.
Okay. And alright, so basically you're just going to defensive stance and make sure that the group is safe, but not chase type thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so then we've got Tori.
Yeah, what is it coming towards me?
No, it's moving away from the group.
I'm also going to
I
go
thought
just
it was
over
going to
here.
get a tasty little amphibian for supper, but it suddenly realizes this is not worth the trouble.
Okay. So yeah, I'll just go over with the group as well, and I could just I could do an action because it's, you know, that's short enough movement, right?
Yep.
All right. Tommy has been hurt, as
Right.
well as so has Callie as well, kind of, right? Because he took strain.
Strain is not something that you heal with the force power, but the Nautilin does have actual wound damage that you can heal if you want to do that.
And that, oh, okay. Yeah, I'd like to try it.
Okay.
So what do I do with that?
So you roll your force rating, which in this case would be 1. So you roll 1 force die.
Mm-hmm. Now I have in my specialization that I've already taken, or should I not have that type of thing yet?
You probably have some talents from your specialization.
Okay, so give me just 1 second. Let's go here. 66. All right. So
And actually, you have the heal force power, right? Not the medicine check. I can't remember which one. Or
I have both of them. Actually.
okay, which one do you want to do? Because he's not hurt much.
Right. I'm just gonna do the medicine check, but I actually
Okay.
have the healing trace twice.
The
healing trance
helps you. Do you have physician
I do.
or surgeon?
I have Let's see. I have 2 physicians and a surgeon.
Okay, so let's see here. So you get to roll your medicine skill, and Tommy, you're just down the 1 wound. Are you down any strain as well?
No, just the wind.
Okay. All right. So in this particular case, having the surgeon isn't really going to make a difference because that would just help you heal extra wounds if he was down multiple. But here, if you make the check, you're going to heal at least 1 anyway. So, but good to know that you have the ability to heal multiple wounds in a check. So normally, to do a medicine check like this, I believe it's once per day, and his current wounds are equal to half or less than his wound threshold, so that means it's difficulty 1, an easy check. So you got the 1 purple die and your medicine skill.
Okay, and my medicine skill, so give me just a second. Come on,
successes heal wounds.
Okay. Give me just 1 second. Looking for my medicine. Right, so I give that, and then 1 of those, and 2 of those, and I roll.
Alright, so you got 2 successes and an advantage. Normally, because of your talents, that would heal 3 wounds and 3 strain from someone, that particular check. But he only needed the 1, but you healed him. I mean...
Right. So
I mean,
now
it's not like instantaneous magical healing. What? The force die isn't needed in this. I thought you were going to do a heal, harm, and force power check, which you would just roll the force die in that case.
Okay.
But this isn't like instant magical healing. It's you perform first aid, stop any bleeding, and he's not really feeling any pain from it. It's not slowing him down, that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right. So the creature, or actually it's the top of the round, so that means Tommy gets the option to act again if he wants to.
I just pat Star on the back and tell her thank you, and let the creature go.
All right. The creature makes its turn. It's going to move away. It's not sticking around. It thought it was the bigger, better predator, and suddenly realizes it's outnumbered, and that pointed thing hurt. Whatever it was, you just stuck it with. So, all right. So that's the end of the encounter, basically. At the end of an encounter, if you are down strain, you can make a... I'm trying to remember if it's cool or discipline. Sorry. I think it's cool check. Sorry, I'm still learning the system sometimes. Okay, at the end of the encounter, each player can make a simple, which means no difficulty, discipline or cool check, whichever you're better at. Each success recovers 1 strain. And there are talents. I know the healer has a talent in its talent tree, which makes it where you heal 1 extra based over whatever you would heal. So if you're down any strain, you can go ahead and make that check, discipline or cool, whichever you're better with, to see if you heal some of that strain.
Let me see. Cool check.
I can heal strain. It says it's real.
Yeah, but you don't want to use, because you can only make 1 medicine check per day on someone as far as for healing purposes. And if they're not down wounds, and he's only down, I think you're only down 2 strain, and he just healed 1 of it. So I mean, he's sitting fine right now.
Okay.
But it's something to know
in the future.
Yeah. All right. So you guys have run this thing off. It's a fairly straightforward encounter there. Little predator beast trying to munch on the Nautilin. It's not the first time it's ever happened or anything like that. Although usually they don't want to munch on the Nautilin specifically, they're just out for food.
And I go to Mosto and ask, "Hey man, did you get food for us? We let that escape, but now that I think if we don't get food, we might just eat that run away.
Yeah, I still feel like I had the rabbits tied around me pretty good. So,
Okay.
and I filled them in on the trap that I sprung.
Okay.
I almost got caught in a big net trap. Did either one of you all set that, or do we need to investigate that further?
Did you say a net trap?
That's what he said.
Oh.
I did.
No, but I've always wanted to see one.
All right.
Well, we can go back if you want to go.
Yeah. She looks very excited.
Okay. All right. Are y'all all going to go straight there, or y'all want to go back to camp first and then there, or are all of you going, or what?
I'm going with them.
Okay.
I'd like to run back and get the lightsaber really quick.
The net has him a little bugged out, apparently. All right. So after a brief interlude, you go back, get the lightsaber, and come back and make your way as best as you can, following your trail back towards the net trap. It takes you a little bit just because you were more concerned about running away from the beast the first time, so following the trail, while relatively easy, is kind of haphazard in its general direction, because you were like pulling branches down, trying to throw them in the way and slowing it down and that kind of thing. So it's not hard to follow the trail back. It's just annoying because he did a good job at slowing it down. So you get back there. It takes you about 5 to 10 minutes to get to this location, and sure enough, there is a net dangling from a tree in what would be a rather fun trap to get out of if you didn't have a lightsaber or a cutting implement. And it's dangling a good, it's one of the larger trees, and it's dangling to where you would be 15 or 20 feet off the ground if you were in it. So, like, you're high enough up that no predator on the ground would easily get to you, whatever was caught.
That doesn't look right, guys. That's a lot higher than any of us could ever get to, and anything that I've ever seen here. Have you guys ever seen anything that big that could take anything out of that?
Or intelligent to make the trap?
Yeah, or smart enough to make that trap too. I didn't think about that, buddy. Oh man.
I always thought we were alone here.
Well, clearly not. And she shakes her head a lot.
All right.
The question now is it friendly? Or this trap was meant to us?
It's a good question.
Nothing here's been friendly.
Well, there's like semi-friendly animals and stuff, but y'all haven't run into anything other than the occasional animal. There's nothing. You haven't run into any intelligent life to warrant the trap in the first place.
Well, what I've noticed is everything wants to eat me, besides the cute furry ones, and I live on that.
All right.
Lastly, we try to track whoever made this. Musto goes off and tries to find some footprints or something.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Star's gonna climb the tree and kind of get up there and kind of see what it looks like. Get up, maybe even cut it down.
Okay. So give me a athletics check to climb the tree.
Yeah, that's
and get to the right angle to. It's not so much. With time, you'll climb the tree is not that hard. It's more of a getting out on the limb at an angle that you can actually get to one of the ropes of the trap type thing safely. That's what the check is. So.
Right.
We'll call this difficulty 1.
Difficulty 1, so just 1 purple die?
Yep. 1 purple die.
Alright. And I don't have anything with it, so just 2 green ones, right?
That sounds
For a
right.
human. Yeah, for a human, so.
Yeah. Brawn and no
Oh.
athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so you get some advantages. We'll say you're able to cut part of it down, but you don't get the whole thing down. So you get some looks at it, and it looks like the net itself is made out of leather straps rather than some other options. It's not like there's just different options. I mean, none of the other things you can think of that would make it. It looks like it's leather straps.
It doesn't look like somebody made it from organic material. You know, I mean, somebody made this net.
Right. They took leather strips and wove it into a net, basically.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Based on the size of the net, you're able to figure out that it would be able to capture something even as big as the panther that y'all fought. Although the leather is thin enough, you don't think it was actually aiming at the panther because its claws and teeth would have shredded the leather pretty quickly. So whatever it was aiming for, while big enough to capture something like that, that probably wasn't its primary target.
Do I think it was for us?
I mean, that's potentially it. I mean, because you guys are about the same size as the
Yeah,
creature, so I mean, that is a potential. But basically, most of the prey animals in the area, like deer equivalents and that kind of thing, would also fit in this thing. I mean, like you can't think of any typical animal in the area that it wouldn't work for. There are some that are too small for this, but there are. I mean, there's like deer. There's the saber-toothed cat thing. There's like a wild boar type equivalent, that kind of thing. So I mean, it's plenty of options as to and you guys as to what the target could be.
That's. So I get up there and I get tired because I'm not really one of the the workers around here. I just I've learned how to.
It's not your thing.
Yeah, it's not really my thing, and I was just excited to cut it down because it looked fun. And I get up there and I yell back down to him. I go, "This was definitely not to catch something aggressive. I think." The thing I'm mostly worried about is I think it might have been to catch us, possibly. You said you triggered it, Musto?
Yeah, when I was trying to make my way back home, I triggered it and somehow managed to evade it.
And you took this path that we took. That we take often, and it wasn't there yesterday, was it?
Not that I remember now.
Oh my. So I am very leery of this, and I now do not want to cut it down because I'm kind of afraid of the trap, and I climb back down and I very leery. Yeah.
Alrighty. So what are y'all gonna do now? Musto, you were trying to find the trail again. See if you could figure out what did this.
Yeah, I wanted to try to find some footprints or something to tell me where this came from.
All right. Let's see here. You, I guess, give me a perception or survival test again. I think survival was the one you said you were best at. And then. Kale, if you want to make a perception or survival test as well to see if you're able to find anything he can't. Whichever one of the 2 rolls you're better at, let me know. It's going to be difficulty 2 either way.
Okay, survival or perception?
Yep.
They are both the same. So
that's the one thing about starting characters. Whenever it comes to the skills that you don't invest in, they're pretty much a lot of the same dice pools. Alright, so you both got at least a success. Looks like Callie restubbed that toe and got another strain in the process. But You guys do not find footprints in the vicinity other than your own and that saber-toothed cat's. I mean, there's nothing else in the area, which at first is kind of disheartening, but then you think about it, there's enough wild animals that the fact that you find nothing other than your guys means that someone actually camouflaged the area by use something to get rid of any tracks. Like, you don't even find like squirrel tracks and stuff like that. So someone camouflaged it, and y'all figured that out. Between the two of you, the fact that you found nothing, you figured that part out.
So
So
they
I'm
hid their
gonna-
tracks too well.
Yeah, they hid their tracks. They hid their tracks and any other tracks, which gives y'all information in its own right, just not the information you were looking for.
Which freaks out Star even more. I get this information from the guys, and I'm like, yeah, that's. So, we should go. I don't care. This is too weird. Let's make sure our camp is okay, because if something can make this happen, and I wave my arms all around kind of wildly, yeah, I'm out of here. And I kind of turn around and start making my way up the path that I know is away from this area.
Okay.
And obviously it's obvious where we just came from. So I've been around this region of the
Right.
area.
It's close enough that it's relatively known to you.
Yeah. And I don't wait. I don't even wait for the guys. I'm just I'm kind of creeped out by the whole thing, and I'm a little weird. I mean, I'm not very good at defending myself yet, so on and so forth. I just really kind of got into that whole healing thing.
Gotcha. All right.
And
I
then
just look
Kyle,
at Kale and shake my head.
and Kyle will agree with me, Starcross, and say, man, it's strange, and we have faced a predator life here for some while, but now intelligent predator life is another thing, and I guess I gonna be more comfortable with more than just one lightsaber,
Okay.
and then I gonna sign to Starcross and start heading to our camp.
Okay. All right. So y'all return to camp and give a quick survey of things, and everything still seems to be normal as far as the camp goes. Anything else? Anything in particular y'all want to do the rest of that day?
I just gonna ask if there's. You said we have more people with us in the accident, right?
There were more people, yes.
But now
it's just
three of us.
Okay.
There were 4 other younglings that died in the crash or the months that followed. There was 3 crew members of the ship, or 2 crew members, and then there was the Republic trooper and the Jedi Knight. So,
No.
but yeah. So you guys,
We're it.
yeah. A lot of them died within the first couple of months, but you guys, the Jedi Knight and the trooper, survived. The trooper and the Jedi Knight both died 2 and 5 years ago, basically.
Okay. And how long have we been here again? I'm sorry.
It's been about 20 years.
About 20 years? Okay.
Yeah. Because basically, you guys, the idea is you guys are all between 21 and 26 now.
Yeah. I
know,
was just figuring mine out right now.
I know Cronus had talked about his character had actually not necessarily wanted to be a Jedi Knight, but actually was looking at one of the things. So I imagine he's probably the oldest of the group because he actually was starting to develop goals of which a 5 or 6 year old can easily have started to develop.
At least an idea of what he wanted to be.
Right. And that probably had changed 5 times already by that time.
It would have changed 7 more times before he was, an adult.
Before it's all said and done.
Right.
But yeah, so I kind of figure he's probably the oldest of the 3 of you. But I mean, that's not by a significant age gap. I mean, you're talking within 5 years of each other. So.
Right. So I would like to maybe talk to the guys and maybe take some watch so we can make sure nothing happens during the evening. If you know what I mean, is there like a sleep period type deal thing? Like, should we be worried about that type of thing in this game or no?
Well, I mean, I definitely think that the idea of after what y'all found, at least you particularly seem to be a little more bugged out about it. So y'all probably are a little more alert than you have been. I mean, because I imagine it's one of those things y'all fell into comfortable daily patterns and whatnot, and this is kind of shaking you out of norm. So
exactly. So maybe I don't sleep real easy this evening, and I'm real up, kind of paying attention to what's going on a good amount. If the other guys are comfortable with what's going on, so.
Does the nanny bot have any sensors that we could use, or would we know that?
Or is it not anything good?
No, she doesn't really have sensors. I mean, the main thing she does for you guys at this point is she cooks.
Oh, okay.
She usually doesn't leave the little makeshift hut made out of the ship type thing. I mean, she cooks and she does some cleaning and that kind of thing. Y'all are old enough that her primary program doesn't really even apply anymore. But she's friendly and eccentric, because droids get eccentric whenever they don't go through regular wipings. But okay.
Well,
Right,
so the next day, huh?
All right, so that evening goes by relatively uneventfully. Probably one or more of you, if y'all are like actually doing the watch thing, hear some noise that kind of startles you at some point in the night, and you check it out. I mean, one of those things that noises that would never have bothered you suddenly become like, we need to check this out. What was that type scenario? But nothing of note occurs throughout the evening and into the next day. Everyone, though, can give me a perception test, and this perception test will be challenge 1, difficulty 1. So that's 1 red, 1 purple. Wow.
Bunch of zeros.
we see nothing.
Right. Well, I mean, you didn't like get threats or anything either, and with a challenge roll die, you could have gotten a despair even. So we got a failure, no success, 2 blanks, 2 blank rolls, and then 1 with 2 failures and an advantage. So, see, that was Corey. So, since in combat situations you can spend an advantage to notice some new trait about the situation, so I'm going to say you're the one who noticed something significant, even though it wasn't what I was actually rolling for. You noticed that there is something missing from y'all's camp. As y'all are going through your day and whatnot, you notice that the dome of the astromech droid, just the round dome, is missing.
I mean, like my cooking, like what? That's weird. Okay. And only that.
Only that. Just the dome.
Okay. That's really strange. And I tell the guys, and they're not interested even. They're just okay, whoever.
It's one of those things that at first, we just kind of someone had to put it somewhere different or whatever. But as y'all go through the day, it becomes pretty evident that it is actually missing.
So did anybody see anything at all last night, or did y'all fall asleep?
I didn't sleep for nothing. I hardly slept at all, and I didn't see nothing except for, you notice the I think it was the droid's head, but remember that like dome thing that we used to have? It's gone. It's really gone. And I looked all over. I used to like that thing. I kind of remember it my whole life. It's kind of cool, but no, it's gone, guys. And now the other things here, I mean, I'm creeped out. We can't go anywhere, so I guess we might as well kind of brace ourselves for something. Hopefully it's good. And she gives like a thumbs up thing to you guys.
And Kyle just go his mouths off and say, "Why do you need a dome from Astromech?"
I have no idea. That makes absolutely no sense. That's like taking one of our That's like taking one of our shoes.
This is possible.
Are our shoes still there?
Yeah. As far as y'all can tell, nothing else is missing. Literally, the dome is all that is missing.
Oh well.
But
I mean, the
But
other
the
parts
droid
are
works.
like even. It's just the dome. Just a bowl-shaped dome.
I would ask the droid, what happened with your head?
Oh no,
The
the
droid's
astromech's
dead.
been not working for 15, 20 years almost. So it
Ah.
stopped working pretty shortly after y'all got here. So like its parts were scavenged to help the nanny droid at various stages and that kind of thing.
Oh, it's the other droid that's still working.
Yeah, the nanny droid's the one that works.
I would try to search for tracks again,
Okay.
close to the droid.
Close to that location, trying to find something of significance.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Go ahead and make me a perception test. Difficulty 1, challenge 1.
Whoa. Just a success and advantage.
Alright. So, you found a trail. Not really footprints precisely, but it is a trail because it looks like something, whatever took the dome, was not able to, or did not carry it all the way out. Like you find like this slightly drug line where it's the actual dome upside down on the ground, creating the slight indentation that you're following. If that makes sense.
Guys, I found something. Maybe you can fix the dome of the droid. That doesn't work, but it's cool.
What is it?
Maybe we can just.
I guess it's a trail.
Well, where? And I walk over to where you're looking at. I go, oh wait, look, you can see it. It looks like they slid the dome, or whatever it was. Do you want what? You want to follow that? Hey, Musto, come on, this looks like fun. Let's go.
I immediately yell, "Let's go!" and charges off towards the trail.
And I'm carrying my spear again.
All right.
I grabbed some iPhone.
Okay. Real quick before we go any further, I need to use the bathroom. So, talk amongst yourselves. Any questions or whatever, while I take care of that real quick.
Yeah, can we just take like a 2-minute break then? Is that cool? 2, 3 minutes. All right.
Yeah, let's do that real quick.
Cool. All right.
Alright, I'm back whenever you guys are.
I'm still not hearing from the other Josh.
He Skyped me, said it's not working. He's getting a new computer, so he's gonna get with me later this week and try to see if he can get it working once he gets his new computer. And so he may be joining us next week. If so, then the fourth person will be here. If not, we'll just go with 3 through the first couple sessions until we get off the planet, and then I'll open up for a new fourth person to join us.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry to wait. I was making myself a drink.
Okay. Alright, so everyone's back. Y'all are setting out to follow this trail. Alright, so how long do you want to follow the trail? After about half an hour, the trail seems to change, and whatever it is that's been dragging it actually picks it up, and you find strange little footprints, like almost paw prints in nature.
Do they look as if it's a bipedal or that it's something that walks on 4 legs?
Probably bipedal, but you're not 100% sure.
Okay. I don't know, guys. There's nothing that I've ever seen that looks like that. It looks like it walks on its hind legs but has paw prints. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'm down to find out what this thing is.
All right, I've never seen anything like this before. Now, all right, I have xenology. What does that really give me?
It's knowledge about different species and stuff, so that would actually be probably the check you would make to try to get a better idea of what you can tell of this creature based on what you've known.
What I've seen around, yeah. No, can I make a check of that?
Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll call this difficulty 3.
So 3 of the purple die?
Yep. So failure with 2 advantages. Yeah, one of those advantages is, we'll say it was for the figuring out that it's bipedal. One of the other things that you're able to note about it is, while it looks like paw prints, there's a noticeable lack of the claws that you would expect. I mean, like if this was, like if you were just mistaken in the bipedal stance or whatever, like all the other creatures that you've seen around the area that are of this appropriate size would have like just small claws. I mean, whether it's actually like predator claws or just the toenail style that some animals have. It has a noticeable absence of those.
And how big is it?
The prints are roughly the size of a human palm. The footprints. So, like your palm. So.
Mm-hmm.
Can we tell where the trail leads to?
Yeah, y'all are able to follow it at this point without too much difficulty. It's just a matter of how long do you want to follow it. About half an hour from camp from y'all's home was whenever it transitioned from the drug dome to the paw prints. So.
And then the drug dome doesn't look like that again.
Right. It looks like whatever it is started carrying it at this point. Because you don't find the dome, so.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
No, I'm very interested in looking.
Okay. All right, so y'all go along for about 2-3 hours. So you're now into about midday at this point, because it was in the morning that y'all noticed the missing and started looking around camp and whatnot. So it's close to noon or so, midday. When you come across, you hear the sound before you see it, but it's pretty obvious. Screen share to show you the image. Come across a nice little trickling waterfall. I mean, it's big enough that like the width of the waterfall, if you were standing on one bank, Corey, your character would have a hard time throwing a stone across the entire way. The Nautilus would have no trouble because he's a lot stronger. But
Right. No, I got you.
So there we go.
I usually throw stones at him.
And he parries them with the lightsaber, or deflects them, or tries.
Yeah, it's a game we play.
Yeah. But as you get close to the spot, it looks like the trails lead right up to the edge of the, like the river edge, overlooking the big waterfall.
So I'm assuming there's a cave underneath this waterfall.
Does not appear to be.
Well, why don't
But
you go
you start
take a
looking
look?
down, trying to get a different angle, and down on the rocks below, you spot the dome of the droid head, laying on the rock, like it was tossed off the waterfall here, and it's down below.
Is it like a big gully, or can I just walk into the river? Like where the head is.
Let's see here. All right, so I wish I could zoom in on this a bit, but so you guys are like up on this bank. Can you see where my mouse is on the picture?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all are up on that bank, and it's down here below that you see the droid head, and the width is such that the one girl could Corey's character couldn't probably throw a stone all the way across. So this is a good 80-foot waterfall or so.
Okay. Do we notice a cave behind us? You know what I mean? Is
Like
there
this
anything?
area?
Yeah.
When you go up a little bit to look around, it's just an overhanging. It doesn't look to be a full like cave to go looking into or anything like that.
Okay. And where it looks like it almost has a bridge-ish area here where it's not quite as
Here?
no, like down, yeah, like where we could cross right across there. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, does it look like anybody's ever does it look like anybody's crossed that region?
There's no way to know. The water is actually moving across it, but it's shallow
Okay.
enough that, I mean, you all think you probably could, but there's no way to tell if someone has.
Okay. Okay.
But I mean,
Um,
the one thing is the tracks lead right up to the edge here, and then you don't see them anymore. So I mean, it's one of those things you think you probably could, and that's the most logical path that whatever this is could have taken.
right. But
Are
our dome is down there in the bottom of the
Right.
and
there
how
tracks on the other side?
You
well, we
want to
haven't
cross
gone
over?
on that side.
Okay. So let's go
Oh,
with
we haven't
a.
made it that far.
Okay, so once you carefully cross over and you start looking around over on this side, there is not a new set of tracks to follow.
Okay. I would like to look and see if we can find a way to get down to where that dome is.
Okay.
Is there any like noticeable way like anybody?
I mean, basically, you're circling around to meet up with where the river is, and then backtracking. I mean, it's going to take a little while, but you can do
But
it.
we could get down there.
Yeah.
How deep's the river?
Down there.
Well,
Once you get down,
leading up to it.
the initial lead up, like right there at the thing. I mean, it was such that you were able to walk across on the
Okay.
rocks. It's not full on rapids or anything like that. It's a steady trickle, basically.
So there's nowhere for him to swim, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, it's like the bridge thing that you described. The rock comes up right there, and the water. It's creating a kind of a natural dam that the waterfall's being made over. So, like
Right.
back near where you thought you saw a cave, the water is a little bit deeper there. I mean, it's not like you're going to go for your Olympic swim or whatever, but it's a nice pool area basically.
Is there anything in there? Why don't you go just swim around in there and see if there's anything in there?
I dive in
Okay.
without question.
All right. Give me a perception check, Mr. Amphibian. Difficulty 2.
He is going to come in handy in some places.
Yeah, it is possible. All right, so you got a success. You do find some stuff on the bottom of this pool, like along the bottom and like up against the natural dam that's created and that kind of thing. You find several things. You find what looks to be a somewhat rusted up energy cell from a blaster pistol. You find what looks to be a Durasteel plate, like a wall plate from a ship. You find a fork, and you find I'm trying to think, a helmet. It's you remember the Republic trooper helmets from episode 1? Just the military things, not clone troopers, but like just a basic helmet, not a full face one, just like that kind of thing. So you find that, as well as like nuts and bolts and various other things in this pool.
Do I remember that helmet from anybody?
Just for sake of humor, yes, you remember it looks like a helmet that the trooper wore whenever you guys were younger, but as far as you can remember, he said it got damaged or went missing years ago, like when you guys were like 10.
I bring up the energy cell and the helmet.
Okay.
Look what I found.
Hey, I've seen that helmet before.
Mm-hmm.
In the droid?
Yeah, no, that's still down in the bottom of the. And I'm pointing down into the well that this has made. And do you guys want to go down and get that? You know, it's probably going to take a while.
If I found stuff here, there's probably a lot more down there.
Well, or that helmet used to belong to us, just like that. And I point down into the, the dome and go, that dome down there, and I wonder how much of it's. Maybe someone's been taking our stuff like our whole lives. And I start thinking of all the things that I've lost. And now I'm very intrigued to go down into the abyss.
It's not going to hurt to go look.
Yeah, I very quickly, try to rally the guys up and say, oh, maybe we could find a whole bunch of stuff that would be kind of neat.
So are y'all all gonna start hiking around to get down to the lower pool and that kind of thing, or does someone want to climb down, or what?
I am certainly not trying to climb down.
I don't think it'd be very smart to jump either.
No, there's visible rocks, so I mean.
Yeah.
I would climb
Hiking's probably
down.
the safer.
Okay, so Kale, you want to
In
try
a
to climb
safe
down?
way.
Oh, you want to go
But,
the long way
yeah.
to be safe?
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, would that be athletics to climb down?
Yeah, just climbing down would be athletics. Going the long way is not going to require an athletics check. It's just going to take time, because basically you're walking along the bank until the outcropping meets up with the river, and then you're walking along the bank of the river back up to the base of the waterfall. So I mean, it's hiking as opposed to climbing. What?
I'm
You're gonna
climbing
climb?
I
down.
would
I'm-
climb
Okay.
down.
Yes.
Climb down as well.
Okay, so
Just to.
all right, it's going to be an athletics check.
Difficulty.
The difficulty will be 1 challenge and 2 purple. 2 difficulty.
And I look at my two friends and I go,
Holy cow!
silly boy.
Yeah, I'm awesome at athletics.
So, like y'all are trying.
can
The other Corey's like, this looks like a bad idea, and the Nautilin's just like, whatever, and scampers down like he's a lizard or something. 4 successes. You got 2 threats, so I mean, there's a few points where you got in weird angles and whatnot, and you're gonna have some sore muscles from the climb, but you'll take 2 strain from it.
Can I use enhance horsepower?
You just have the first
And basic power.
base power. Let's see here. So yeah, you can use enhance. Basically, you make the athletics roll just like you normally would. So it'd be whatever your athletics pool is, the difficulty of 2 purple and a red, and you roll a force die as well.
Oh,
All right, so
nice.
you got 3 successes and 2 advantages. So you're not quite as fast as the Nile because you got 4 successes or 2 threats, but you make it down safely as well. But you get stuck in a few spots, and basically y'all both got stuck in the same area and had to like twist at a weird angle and stretch and whatnot. So you're like that's the tricky spot right there. You know exactly where it is because you both got the same number of threats there. So. All right, so you both get down, start looking around down here.
I
Corey,
yell
is she
down
gonna
to him.
try
I go, no.
Okay, so you're gonna wait up top.
No, I'm not. I'm just yelling down to him. You guys are a pain in the ass. And I start quickly, because I'm used to this, scurrying down and hiking down, how long does it take for me to catch up to them?
Oh, it'll take a while. Like they could literally search the area and climb back up faster than you could hike all the way around. So,
Okay. So I come to that
assuming
realization.
they succeed at their athletics checks on the climb back up.
Right. I come to that realization and kind of walk a little bit, and then I've come to the conclusion that she's got pretty bad ADD type deal thing. So she kind of has a squirrel moment and notices some pretty flowers and goes start picking up flowers over near the edge.
Okay.
And forgets that they're even down there for a moment.
All right. So she's doing that.
Yeah.
Two of you are down there. So looking along the bank, what are y'all going to do when you get down to the base of the... I mean, you got a bank to stand on. It's not extremely wide, but it's something to stand on while you're getting a plan.
I dive straight in the water.
Okay. I figured that was the Nautilus answer.
Yeah.
What about Kale?
I'll search for things that I can see, but I don't jump in the water. I just try to search things useful that I can see from the bank.
Okay. So, Musto, give me a perception difficulty of 2 purple, and Kale, give me a perception difficulty of 1 purple, 1 red.
Perception or
Yeah.
what?
Perception, yeah.
Three successes and 2 threats.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you got a success. So you both notice various things. Kale will say that the 2 threats again are going to give you a couple strain, as like you're walking along wet rock, basically balancing, and at some point you slip and fall and bust your tailbone a little bit and keep on going. The 2 of you both notice various things, either on the edges of the water or in the water in the pool. The pool here is relatively deep. It's just got some big rocks in it that the dome was on. You guys find various pieces, and it doesn't take long before it becomes apparent that while you guys lived in the bulk of the crash site, I mean, the ship did crash, so there were parts across the area, and you find parts that seem to indicate that someone has been throwing pieces of shipwreck and debris and whatnot into this pool and the pool above.
Don't notice anything that stands out?
I mean,
Just
like just things that probably would have been useful if they hadn't been sitting in water for so long. I mean, there's some stuff that you may make use of, like, I mean, like if you wanted to come back for the Durasteel plant panel and that kind of thing. I mean, that's a big piece of metal that could be used for something, but nothing that jumps out that, like, I got to take this back up with me type thing.
I want to get the droid head while I'm down there.
Okay. All right. Anything
Just
else?
for principle.
Come this far, might as well get in at least, right?
If I don't see anything else, I'll just pop back up and check on Kale.
Okay.
Pick the helmet.
And I yell from the top, "Don't forget the helmet!"
I hold it above the water.
All right.
I go, "I'm not coming down there."
And I scream from down below, "Keep on watching! Maybe the guy is stealing more stuff from us and throwing right now."
Hey, on that note, Star, make a perception check.
I was just about to say, how nice. With what?
Perception difficulty 1 red, 1 purple.
Awesome. I'm not very perceptive. Like I said, I'm squirrel. So we're gonna see. Let's see. Yeah.
Alrighty then. So.
This is bad.
You don't saw nothing, but
Yeah.
the other advantage, you saw a little bit
You did
flower.
not see anything as you're like shouting down to them. Something hits you on the back of your right thigh, hard enough to hurt a little bit, but scare the crap out of you in the circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. It hurts some, but
Mhm.
the startle factor, the fact that you're standing yelling down over the ledge into a pool,
All right.
is pretty
I-
high.
Yeah. I scared the crap out of myself, like you said. So, I've kind of almost do the like I'm gonna fall over a little bit, and then I kind of catch myself and I look back and I see nothing.
No, you didn't see this before it happened.
Right.
As you look back after gathering yourself, you see the like the bush back there doing the whole like rustle thing where it's moving around, and so
Mhm.
you know exactly where it came from, whatever it was that just hit you. Um,
No, I
the
don't
two
see a
down
rock or
below,
anything. I don't
the
nothing.
two down below, the thing that just pegged her was a rock that's the size of like. Not quite the size of the fist, about half the size of the fist, that hit her in the back of the leg and then came tumbling down over the edge and almost hit the nautilin as it like clunked into the water. Thump.
And I yell down, "Hey! Something just hit me, and I think it. And I look over at the bush, and it's right. I think it's in a bush up here. Did did the thing that hit me? Did it go down there? I'm yelling.
It almost hit me.
Oh no!
A rock.
A rock. And I turn around and
The bush is still at this point.
it's still.
Mhm.
Yeah, my curiosity is gonna have too much of myself, and I'm gonna have to go over and find out what it's all about. I hope I don't die. It was fun playing with you guys.
All right. So you go into the bush and start looking around and cross through the bush to the other side.
Is it a large like hedge, basically?
Yeah, like a big hedge type thing.
Mhm.
Kind of the brush line near the stream, basically, that kind of thing. And you don't immediately find anything. There's nothing that like jumps in your face or whatever whenever you go look in the bush, although that would probably scare someone pretty badly.
Yeah.
So, and then you hear the rustling scramble and something running away. Not towards the waterfall, but directly away from the waterfall.
And okay, can I kind of double my time and see if I can see anything
Give
running
chase.
away? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're running along. You're making decent time. The brush here is thick enough that it's actually slowing you down a little bit.
Okay.
But you're keeping pace well enough that you're able to keep hearing and like seeing bushes move and that kind of thing up ahead of you. Probably about 5 to 10 yards ahead of you at any given time. Every time you kind of get close, it gets thick again or whatever. You two that are at the base of the waterfall, what are you doing while this? After the rock incident and then the hey and chase.
I try to make my way back up the cliff there.
Okay, climbing back up.
I
Kale, you
just
doing
crashed. What did I miss?
You didn't miss much. I gave chase to the
source of the rock.
to the source of the rock, and I haven't really made out what it is, but I've been able to, keep up with it for the most part.
He's doing the classic bush chase scene against a mysterious creature.
Whatever
ahead.
it is, yeah. But it doesn't seem to want to attack me. It keeps running away from me. So, and then Tommy's trying to climb out.
I would try to climb also.
Okay. So you two give me an athletics check. We will give it the same difficulty, but you're both going to get a boost die since you've already climbed this surface once before. So you get a boost die for the familiarity with it.
Just 1 second, oh, I hate when Google crashes. Boost die. It's what difficult?
The 2 purple, 1 red.
There is any limit to the force dice for enhance?
It's just your force rating, which right now is 1. Eventually, you'll get force rating 2.
Well, can you use it as many times as you want? Is it unlimited?
Oh, you can use it as long as you're in this particular for that power. Yes, you can use it whenever you want. The only time you couldn't use it is like, for example, if you look further down the enhanced tree, the control on the left and middle. Once you commit a force die, then you can't roll that force die for anything else while it's committed. So
That'd also be the same for my healing. So once I commit a force die.
I don't think there's any uses of heal that commit though. They're just you use them for a roll. Yeah, there's not any. There's uses that commit for sense, enhance, battle meditation, and a few others. But most of the time, you're not committing them. And once you get to the point where you have multiple force dice, then you can commit one and still have a dice pool. It's just for those who play Magic or whatever, it's like permanently tapped while that effect is going on or whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm not climbing that.
That makes absolute sense now. Thank you.
Gotcha.
100%.
All right, so you got 2 failures and 2 advantages, and he got 3 advantages. So neither of you are making very good time, but at least you're not hurting yourselves or each other. I mean, basically the advantages are going to make it where you're having helping each other keep from falling, but you're not actually getting anywhere because you're spending so much time making sure neither of you get hurt in the process. So, come back to you in a minute. Corey got up. Dang it. Oh, there he is.
I have a wireless headset, so I'll let you know.
I was like, Corey got up again. What the heck?
Yeah, I'm gonna get up a lot.
All right, you're running along. Give me a vigilance test.
Vigilance test. That's not going to be good for me.
Difficulty 2 purple.
2 purple. Okay. Let me make sure that it's not anything but what I knew it was. Okay. And bam. Nothing. I am a one-trick pony, and we don't have that trick right now.
All right, so
Sorry.
you're running along, and all of a sudden, you find yourself 15 feet in the air, in a net.
Awesome. And at 15 feet in the air, so it's as I expect, as has happened in many other movies and even the Star Wars movies. I got netted and I'm in there, probably screaming my head off.
Yeah, you two that are climbing, you can hear him screaming. I mean, he's a couple hundred yards away, but you can hear him screaming bloody murder.
Yeah, she is also using a lot of obscenities and saying it's your guy's fault that she got netted.
I'll look at Kale. Let's go save her again. Roll my eyes.
All right. So this is where I'm going to kind of leave a little bit of a cliffhanger because we're at the spot where I wanted to end the actual session tonight. We'll still take care of some stuff at the end, but basically what ends up happening, you guys, since you failed your initial climb check, it's going to take you a little bit to get up there to where you can help. But you do make it up safely eventually. Well, once you get done with the screaming bloody murder, you actually do notice something rather important. It looks like a treehouse up in the trees here. Like you're dangling 15, 20 feet in the air, and there's like a series of tree houses that some of them look damaged, that are as high as 30 feet up, but some of them are as low as like 10 feet up. There's about a half dozen of them, and you're dangling like barely in sight of them because of the trees. Not because they're so far that you wouldn't be able to see them, but because other trees are in the way that you barely can see them as you're dangling there.
And we've never noticed those. Well, have you even never been in this area before?
You haven't been this far in this direction. I mean, it's one of those things, you're far enough from camp that even if you were a single degree off in your exploration, you would have never seen this particular area. You're because you're 4 hours out, so now you're talking 8 miles or so.
Right. Man, I report that down to them. Say, there's definitely something. Well, clearly something did this to me, and I'm screaming on them.
All right.
Because I know it's not you, dunderheads.
All right. So we're gonna leave off with a bit of a cliffhanger there as to the exact nature of the treehouse. This particular week, since we got so many new players to Tides and to the system in general, I wasn't planning on doing a Tides of Change, but I think I will because of where we left off. So I will give you guys each the first off. Corey and Tommy, are both of you familiar with the Tides of Change system they've come up with? It's a pretty neat idea. Basically, like sometimes they do it in the middle of a session, sometimes they do it as the cliffhanger of a session or whatever, where each of the players in the game get to propose a Tides of Change, like a twist on something that's going on. So, I mean, in this case, it could be about the residents of the treehouse. It could be about the meaning behind what they discovered in the pool. Something like a plot point that I may not have thought of, or something like that you guys want to propose. Then what I'll do is I'll post it up on the Tides of Change group based on your proposals, and they'll vote on it, and I'll probably give it till like Friday night or Saturday morning to take votes, and then I will incorporate that into the start of the next session, whatever the community decided was the twist. Like,
that's really cool.
So
that's really, really cool. And so you could make that a live poll as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a poll in the Tides of Change role-playing group. So
but I mean, like, if you did it during the game, you could do it live.
Yeah, I personally don't know how to do that yet. That's one reason why I'm going to just use them as a cliffhanger for now. Mostly because if you're doing a longer session than taking a break in the middle and whatnot, but if we're going to stick to about 3-hour sessions, it's going to be kind of the standard. I'd rather have a quick bathroom break about halfway through and then have the cliffhanger to carry over to the next session, because some of the Tides get pretty tricky on trying to figure out how they
get back into the game. Yeah. So now we have to make that up right now?
Yeah. Propose what you think the new twist should be in this situation.
I propose that even though I'm not very heavy, I'm just I'm a slender, female human person, ish thing. I propose that the weight of my body and the slinging of it going up, and after I notice everything, that the weight of it just I fall back to the ground. And they don't have to cut me down. Like, it just basically breaks and I fall back to the ground. How do you feel about that?
Falls out of the net trap before the others get to him.
Yes. But I still notice the tree houses. Like I'm
Right.
hanging there for a second.
Basically,
notice the
you'll
tree
get
houses.
to either run or investigate before they get there, and
Yes.
whatever that may be is what it may be. But
Right. Exactly.
all right, anyone else have a proposal?
Since we are playing Force and Death, I don't know, but I would say this civilization is a little bit primitive for our our standards, since we have space travel and they don't. But they oh god, I forgot the word. But they are force sensitive in his primitive ways, but
Okay.
close to the dark side.
So your proposal is that there is a dark side force user
Primitive, yes.
in this camp, basically, or in the tree houses.
Yeah, that's they are stealing from us because they sense. I don't know. Maybe we are his enemies or something like that.
Okay.
I want Star to notice some sort of primitive painting or shrine of my head in the treetops.
Of your head? Of the likeness of you.
Yes.
So actually, no wait. Can we help each other with this? Because I think it's kind of funny, or is it just everybody comes up with their own idea and that's it?
Well, I mean, it's his proposal, but if you want to kind of like give
Add
him
some
some more
flavor?
fuel for it,
Yeah. All right.
but he gets the final say. So.
Yeah. As I'm in the net, I noticed that actually it's not like a shrine to you, but the shape of the tree houses that I notice do resemble to be your likeness. And like your silhouette that I've seen, like my whole life, because I've known you my whole life for the most part. Yes, I do notice that the tree houses kind of fall in your silhouette. So, but it very much must know with the thingies and the tentacles and all that crazy stuff. It was very much you.
No, that works. We can go with that.
You know what I mean? Maybe not so much a shrine, but the way it was built. We can tell it is you.
Modeled after me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. If you no, I wish mine was better. That's two good ones, and mine was just like, I just want to look around.
All right. So the way here, Tom, I'm putting the poll up, but I just want to how I'm wording them on the poll. So Corey's is he falls out of the net trap before the others arrive. Cronus is a dark side force user is living in the tree houses. And then Tommy's is, are the primitives stalking or idolizing Musto?
Love it. Love it.
All right, so the poll's going up now. All right, so we'll see
Now,
what.
Do we get to vote on these?
No, you guys aren't. It's presumed that you guys are voting for your own, I believe, is the normal way they deal with it.
Okay.
But it's up to the other members of the community to vote, is my understanding. I may get clarification and that you guys can vote as well. I'm not sure, but for this first one, we'll see if we get some votes from the community.
That'd be awesome. I hope we do.
So the next thing, at the end of the session, there's a couple of things that are housekeeping things. We deal with whether or not anyone gained or lost any morality throughout the session based on the conflict score. The mechanics side of that is throughout the session I will be tallying. Sometimes I'll say it. Sometimes you'll use a force power that says you have to take one, but you'll gain conflict throughout the session. And at the end of the session, you roll a die 10, and if you roll above whatever conflict score you accumulated for the session, you'll gain that many morality points. If you roll below, you'll lose that many. If you roll the exact number, obviously you just balance out for the session. So like I said at the beginning of the session, you guys all started at 50. At 29, you fall to the dark side. At 71, you become a light side paragon. If everyone would please roll a die 10.
Oh,
So Cronus, you have no change.
oh God. Paragon.
Tommy, you gained 5 morality over the course of the session. And Corey, you gained 5 morality over the course of the session. Those of you who have done the math, that means that Kale only had 2 conflict, Corey had 5, and Munto had 3. Because Corey kept describing fear and paranoia in his actions.
Well, okay, cool.
Yeah, so y'all got that, but you two both gained 5, and Cronus 0. So on your character sheets, your moralities are now 55, 55, and 50. That's important to keep up with because next session it'll trigger differently, possibly. Then experience. Typically, the typical rule of thumb that I've used in my games is that you'll get 5 XP per hour we play as a general rule of thumb. And then there will be story awards when y'all get to story breakpoints and that kind of thing. So we played for about 2.5 hours, so I'm going to give y'all 12 XP each. And then I also do a thing where everyone who shows up on time and is not late at all gets 2 XP for the session. So everyone will have 14 XP at the end of the session. So.
Nice. Writing that.
All right, and with that, I'm going to stop the broadcast. Those of you who are watching or who watch this at a later time, thank you for joining us, and hope to see you next time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
See ya.